Hi, this is Tom Painter, and this is the Money Made Easy program, specifically the 5 steps to becoming financially independent. Now, these 5 steps are the same for a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, or a 55-year-old. My granddaughters, as they grow up, will use the same 5 steps as Warren Buffett uses. So let me teach you through them right now. So step number 1 is to make money. Step number 2 is to sort or to separate your money. From there, number 3 is you need to give some of your money away to church and charity. And I suggest you grab a piece of paper and a pencil and draw this out as I'm doing it. Now, step number 4 is to be able to save and invest. And step number 5 is to spend the rest. Now, as I've taught this program all over the world, some things that I have in common. Around the world, most people have a job, and that's their main source of bringing income into their family. They have a job. Some people have 2 jobs. Some people have a spouse that works, job number 3. And of course, maybe the spouse also works. And money comes into your world right here. And then the second step is we need to separate it. We need to figure out where we want our money to go. Step number 3 is to give some of it to the church and charity of our choice. Number 4 is to save and invest. Not just save, but we need to invest as well. And number 5 is to spend the rest. Now, when you look at people walking down the street, when you look at your family, your kids, there's something that everybody has in common. Everybody's going to make and spend over $1 million in their lifetime. If you took a lifetime of work, even if it's a minimum wage job, over a lifetime, you're literally going to have $1 million come into your fingertips. The problem is that you also have to survive, and you'll spend $1 million. And this is where people get into trouble. They make money here, and then they spend it here, and they don't have any idea of where it went. They had no charitable deductions, and they didn't save and invest any. So I'm going to teach you some systems of how we're going to change that. Because if you'll do these 5 steps correctly, you'll become financially independent. So step number 1 is to figure out how to make more money. Now, there's many different ways that you can do that, and there's different kinds of businesses that you can get involved in. But let's start with 2 kinds of businesses that we're going to speak about. Number 1 is businesses that create cash. These are ones that when you sell a product or sell a service, you make cash or a chunk of cash. The second one down here is making a stream of income. Now, why this is important is because I want to teach you the system of how we're going to go from wherever you're at to your next level. So now, our goal is to be able to create multiple streams of income and multiple chunks of cash. Now, if you have a real estate investments, you have the ability to make chunks of cash with those. When you do, that's going to come right into the very top of your program. As you do stock, if you buy and sell stock, you can make a chunk of money. If you do things on the internet with your business, you can sell a product with Amazon or other ones. You can make a chunk of cash. And then, of course, you can have a small business like a multi-level marketing business. With that, you can make chunks of cash. Now, in addition to that, each of these you can also make streams of income. So step 1 down here with real estate, you can buy real estate and rent it out and create streams of income that will come into your life through rental income. You can do the same thing with stock. You can do different stocks or bonds that create a stream of income for you. On the internet, you can create ways that your programs that you create will create a stream of income for you. And then, of course, there's multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing is really designed to create streams of income. So my goal for today is to give you an idea of what you need to do. So our big piece is that we need to be able to bring more streams of money into our world. When I was 14 years of age, I was helping my dad fix and scram the paint off of the house that lived next to us. It was a rental home that my dad had purchased. And it was hot. I wasn't having much fun. I asked my dad, Dad, am I getting paid to do this work? And he said, no, get back to work. Well, he could see that I didn't like that answer. And he said, you know, son, we bought this property so that it would create some income to help put each of you kids through university. Well, I was only 14 years of age. I didn't really care about university at the time. And he could still see that it wasn't really quite the answer I was looking at. And he said something to me. He said, son, some people make so much money off their small businesses, their real estate, and their investments that they don't have a job. So one of the goals I have for you in the long term is to be able to do that exact same thing. Most people only have income from their job. If they stop working, their income stops. Even if you're a doctor and make really a lot of money, as soon as you stop working, your income stops. Professional athletes, as soon as they stop working, their income stops. So we want to be able to create streams of income to take care of you so that your job is to manage these things over here and not have a job. That's our big picture for you. So now with that being said, let me kind of give you another example of what we're really looking for in here. And so as we talk about money that make money, that's step number one. Step number two is to be able to separate your money. Step three is to give money to church and charity. 4 is to save and invest. And 5 is to spend the rest. Now we're going to do another class and tutorial where we're going to get into great detail into real estate, stock, the internet, and multi-level marketing. Now, if you're starting a small business, I recommend you start with something like multi-level marketing because it's very simple and easy to be able to do, and it's not very expensive to start. If you're using real estate or stock, you have to have more capital. But if you're going to start a small business, I would start here. Now, your big goal right here is to be able to have a big net worth. And I could boil it down to 3 things that we want to really accomplish over our lifetime. Is number 1 is to have good health. If you don't have good health, all the money in the world isn't going to help you. So we've got to work on our health. Number 2, we need to work on our wealth. That means our net worth. How much are we worth? Your net worth is when you take all of your assets and subtract any loans that you have. That is what your net worth is. And then number 3, of course, is creating streams of income. Right now, a job is not a stream. It's income, but it's not a stream. Our real goal is right down here on this bottom piece right here, is that we want to be able to create a big net worth that has streams of income. And that is designed by putting money in your account on a monthly basis. Now we're going to go into great detail into the stock market. So I'm just going to give you a big picture idea of what this is. But to be able to create a big long-term net worth, you have to put money into this account on a monthly basis. Every month you're putting money in. Now I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm worried that the stock market's going to go down, or I'm worried that real estate is going to go down in value. And my point to that is that if you look at real estate, or if you look at the stock market, where it was 20 years ago, it's a lot more expensive today than it was 20 years ago. It's a lot more today than it was 10 years ago. It's going to be more expensive in 10 years from now and 20 years from now. Warren Buffett would say, you know, it depends on when you're selling. If you're going to be selling your stock next week, that's a different story. But if you're going to sell in 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 15 years from now, we actually want the stock to go down so that we can buy more of it at the lower price. We call this dollar cost averaging. Okay? So the goal is to be able to put money in on a monthly basis. If the stock market goes down, then we're actually accumulating more shares of stock. So if we do that on a monthly basis, that is the key. And we want to do this on an automatic basis as well, because as you make money, it's going to go into your savings account, your checking account. We want to automatically take money from here and have it go into step number 4, which is our saving and our invest. Money we put into long-term savings is one thing, but investing is the real key to what we're trying to do. If you're just saving money and it's going into cash, that's helpful for a rainy day, but it's not building any wealth. So step number 1 is we need to add to it. We need to water our money tree every month. Number two, we want to times that by getting a good rate of return on our investments. We want our investments to continually go up in value. We call it appreciation because we appreciate it when it goes up in value. Some people call it inflation if they don't own things. Inflation is when you're paying rent or you've got to pay more money for gas or food. That's inflation, and that has a very negative effect on you. But if we own things that go up in value, like real estate and stock, then it appreciates, and we appreciate it because it's worth more in the future. So step one is that we want to add more money every month. Now, step two is we need to get a good rate of return on that money. So over a long period of time, we want a good rate of return. And we use that with a program we call the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 says this: if you take the number 72, and 72 is kind of a magical number, if you take 72 and you divide the interest rate or the appreciation percentage of what it's growing to, it'll tell you how long it takes for an investment to double in value. So in this example, let's say that we have an investment that's going up at 6% a year. Well, 6 divided into 72 goes 12 times. Or some people would say 6 times 12 equals 72. It takes 12 years for that investment to double in value if you have a 6% rate of return. Now, if you have a 1% rate of return, like money that's sitting into your checking account, then it takes 72 years for your checking account to double in value, or 1 times 72 equals 72. Now, if your investments are going up at 3%, 3 into 72 goes 24 times, 3 times 24 equals 72. Then at 3%, it takes 24 years. A piece of real estate, sometimes it'll take 3% in appreciation. It's going up 3%. Some years it goes up, some years it levels off, sometimes it might even dip, depending on the supply and demand. But over time, it would take 24 years for it to double. If you have investments that are going up at 10%, 10 into 72 goes 7.2 years. And so at 10%, it takes 7.2 years for it to double. And the goal is to figure out how many times you can double your net worth. Okay? So if you have a credit card at 21%, 21 goes into 72, 3.4 years. So if you have a credit card and you are paying the minimum balance on that, the minimum payment on that, it's going to take many, many years. In this case, it's going to take 3.4 years for it to double in cost. Now, well, the funny thing about that is that many people have money in their savings account. They have money in their checking account. For example, they have $1,000 in their savings account or checking account, and they owe $1,000 on their credit card. Well, where did the bank get the money to loan you the money on your credit card? Well, they simply borrowed it from your savings or checking. They're paying you nothing at 1%, so your investments take 72 years for your checking account to double in value. They're loaning it back to you on your credit card and charging you 21% on it. So it takes 3.4 years for it to double in cost. So the second thing is that all of our investments, we need to have a nice rate of return. And again, we're going to talk more about that when we get into the stock market section. Then the third thing that we need to do is we need to times that by time. We need to have money going into our investment account. We need to have a nice, safe rate of return. And then we need to be able to take that rate of return over a long period of time. If you do that, you'll create a big net worth. Now, the streams of income come in that each of these different investments also can create streams of income. If you're buying real estate and it's rental real estate, then that can create a stream of income. Stock with bonds and things like that can create a stream of income. The internet, there are a way to be able to create streams of income, and of course, multi-level marketing is ideal for that, because the goal for multi-level marketing is to be able to create a whole stream of income that will come into your life. So in the next couple classes, we're going to talk more about all of these steps here, but I wanted to give you a big picture of what we're trying to do. So step number one is to make money. By making money, we also want to be able to start exploring real estate, stock market, the internet, and multi-level marketing to be able to create those extra chunks of money. Once that money comes in, you need to separate it. Warren Buffett is the best stock picker businessman that I've ever read about. And what he does is that he spends all of his time deciding what to do with the profits that come in from all the businesses that Berkshire Hathaway owns. He spends all of his time right here. Now, step number 3 is you have to give some of it away. You have to give away to the churches and charities of your choice. The only way that you can really have great fulfillment in your life is to be able to give it away. Number 4 is to save and invest. Many people put money into savings for emergency funds, but they don't do investing because they're afraid of it. I'm going to teach you the simplicity of investing. And then number 5 is to spend the rest. So that's the 5 steps that we're going to be talking about. Stay tuned for some other classes. And this is Tom Painter. Thank you for joining.